When you think of World War II navies, you probably think of the United States, Japan, or the United Kingdom. But the Netherlands? They had a small but incredibly determined fleet. At the heart of it was a cruiser named HNLMS De Ruyter. De Ruyter was not the biggest or most heavily armored ship. She was built during an economic crisis, thin-skinned but modern. She became the flagship of Admiral Carol Doorman. And here is the tragic, fascinating part. During the Battle of the Java Sea in 1942, a combined Allied fleet tried to stop the Japanese invasion. Doorman's last signal was simply, "Ik val aan, volg mij." I am attacking, follow me. Within hours, De Ruyter was hit by a Japanese torpedo and sank. Over 300 crew went down with her. Right beside her, the older cruiser Java also sank in the same battle. That single night effectively ended Dutch naval power in the Pacific. But the Dutch did not only have old ships. They had planned modern cruisers like the Haarlem and the Utrecht, ships that were never fully built because Germany invaded the Netherlands in 1940. This month's Blitz pass ship is a premium Dutch cruiser, Vrijheid. That means freedom in Dutch. Between the historical and Royal Netherlands Navy camouflage schemes, the Royal Netherlands Navy scheme is the clear choice, because it provides additional concealment. Vrijheid is the first Dutch cruiser in the game that has a smoke generator. The airstrike ability is unique to Dutch cruisers, and is also available on this Blitz ship. It also comes with an engine accelerator and anti-air defense. For the elite ship bonus, I chose escort specialization. As for the commander, I played with Elise van der Meer, who is one of the first commanders available through the Blitz pass. This commander seems specifically designed to boost Vrijheid's smoke generator. One skill I want to highlight in the commander's skill tree is Tactical Shooter at level 13. Detecting 3 enemy ships will increase your main battery firing range by 4%. That is what I will explain further. I choose main battery reload, but the ship's dispersion is not great. Going with that skill is still a good option. For concealment, the third slot is definitely the right choice. No question about it. This ship needs to stay hidden. Let's first compare Vrijheid with the tech-line ship Haarlem. First of all, we can say that Vrijheid is a smaller, more compact and more agile ship. However, its hit point pool and armor are not as good as Haarlem's. In my opinion, this puts it into the light cruiser category. But to be precise, the correct reason for calling it a light cruiser would be its gun caliber. The main gun caliber is almost half that of a typical cruiser. You could even say it is like a destroyer. When we look at the main gun reload time, Vrijheid is not similar to a standard tech-line Dutch cruiser. Instead, it reminds me more of the Utrecht line. Looking at the airstrike ability, we see much lower values in hit points, damage, and range compared to the main gun performance. The only things that compensate for this are a better fire chance and a faster reload time. Another major difference between the two ships is their surface detection range. Let's look at the situation with De Zeven Provinciën, or DZP for short. There are big differences in main gun range, caliber, and gun damage. Also, there is a huge gap in airstrike damage and range. On paper, Vrijheid looks quite weak compared to these two Dutch cruisers. It does have an advantage in concealment, main gun reload, and airstrike reload time. But in almost every other area, it looks worse. So the question is, can 2 level 2 smoke generators change the equation? Before I answer that question, let me first show you the 2 commanders coming with the Blitz pass. And before showing engagements and full matches, I want to mention an interesting point that does not show up in the comparison numbers. First, the techline ship Harlem. Its maximum airstrike range is 8.70 kilometers and the minimum range is 3.60 kilometers. You also see its main gun ranges. When we move to DZP, the maximum airstrike range is an excellent 9.90 kilometers and the minimum range is 3.60 kilometers. Now let's look at Vrijheid. Its maximum airstrike range is a very short 6.9 kilometers. But here is the interesting part. Its minimum range is only 1.8 kilometers. This is one of the ship's positive features. It means Vrijheid has the chance to use airstrikes on very close targets. Do not let Vrijheid's disadvantages in range, caliber, and lower air strike damage fool you when compared to other Dutch cruisers. The ship offers characteristics similar to the Utrecht line and brings a new dynamic to the Dutch cruiser playstyle we are used to. Its maneuverability and acceleration are not bad. It performs well in chaotic environments. It is not very fast at eliminating destroyers, but it is not bad either. The main gun dispersion is not great. The reload time is excellent. This ship has an incredibly good concealment value. In open water, you can glide like a ghost. But keep in mind that with the camouflage and equipment I am using, my concealment drops down to 6.5 kilometers. This is with the Royal Netherlands Navy camouflage I showed at the beginning of the video. Because the airstrike range is very limited, the usual strategy of hiding behind islands and using airstrikes does not work well on this ship. This ship can be thought of, so to speak, as high risk, high reward. If you do not get close to the enemy team, you will likely have zero damage contribution. But when I say get close, I am talking about a dangerous value of under 7 kilometers, which is the range where you can activate your airstrike. That is a deadly range to be in against battleships. But this is exactly where the risk and the fun of Vrijheid begins. At the beginning of this video, I highlighted the level 13 skill of the commander I chose, Tactical Shooter. In my strategy, at the start of the match or in the later stages, I detect 3 enemy ships to activate this skill and increase my main gun range. This increase gives me a good advantage. Although this ship may look similar to DZP, it requires a different positioning and playstyle. As I said, it is in the style of the Utrecht Dutch cruisers. At first, the damage output may seem weak, but over time you will see that is not the case. It is an enjoyable ship. It's capable to carry a match. At the same time, we cannot call it toxic, because its airstrike capacity, range, and main gun range require skill to use effectively. Regarding the main guns, the dispersion is not great. I tried using AP shells against destroyers and light cruisers. Against other targets, airstrikes to start fires, and then continued with HE shells. This tactic, combined with good dodging and a smoke generator, is more than enough to eliminate an average battleship, even if it takes a little time. As for anti-aircraft capability, I think it would not be wrong to say it is about average, similar to DZP. In summary, as a cruiser, this ship can perform a support role and more, sufficiently and effectively. If you are not familiar with playing cruisers or using the airstrike ability, you might not get much out of this ship. Also, if you are looking for a new DZP, this ship is not exactly that. In the end, you have to expose yourself to deal damage or contribute to your team. There is no playstyle where you can stay at long range the whole time, because the ranges ultimately require close combat. Now let me say a few words about the airstrike ability. The airstrike ability on Dutch warships in Blitz has no historical connection. In basic terms, it is called in-aircraft that drop HE bombs. You can think of it like this. Within a certain distance, coordinates are given from the ship, and that area is bombed. Once you select a target, you cannot change its location again. Historically, this ability did not belong to Dutch warships, but in Blitz, it is the characteristic feature of Dutch ships. When using this ability, you have a higher chance of launching successful attacks against large and slow targets. It is harder to hit small, fast, highly maneuverable targets with airstrike. Also, your airstrikes will be reduced if the enemy ship has strong anti-aircraft guns, which will lower your damage, but you will not run out of total airstrikes. Additionally, the airstrike ability can spot enemy ships, just like classic aircraft. By sending airstrikes over an area, you can spot the incoming enemy team. These features are the signature ability of Dutch warships in Blitz with Pan-Asian clone. This type of ship is enjoyable and challenging. In the hands of a knowledgeable player, it can be a real threat. I liked it, and the commander fits this ship perfectly. Do not forget to write your thoughts down below. See you next time.
Confirm penetration! The hand of the Emperor guides me! Confirm penetration! The hand of the Emperor guides me! Target penetrated! I strike with the Emperor's fist! Confirm penetration! The hand of the Emperor guides me! Confirm penetration! The hand of the Emperor guides me! Sighted on the horizon. none in your fury! Penetration! The hand of the Emperor guides me! Confirm penetration! The hand of the Emperor guides me! Target penetrated! I strike with the Emperor's fist! Penetration! Praise the Emperor! Confirm penetration! The hand of the Emperor guides me! Anti-aircraft gun crews are on full alert! Fire alarm! Unacceptable! Contain it immediately! Target penetration! I strike with the Emperor guides me! Penetration! Praise the Emperor! Guides me! Penetration! Praise the Emperor! Target penetrated! I strike with the Emperor's fist! Confirm penetration! The hand of the Emperor guides me! Sighted on the horizon. Target penetrated. I strike with the Emperor's fist. Penetration. Praise the Emperor. Confirm penetration! The hand of the Emperor guides me! Confirm penetration! The hand of the Emperor guides me! Penetration! Praise the Emperor! Target penetrated! I strike with the Emperor's fist! Confirm penetration! The hand of the Emperor guides me! Confirm penetration! The hand of the Emperor guides me! Penetration! Praise the Emperor! Confirm penetration! The hand of the Emperor guides me! Confirm penetration! The hand of the Emperor guides me! The Imperium! Engine boost activated. May the Emperor smile upon us. May the Emperor protect you. We shall offer assistance in his name. Enemy force sighted on the horizon. The hand of the Emperor guides me! Target penetrated! I strike with the Emperor's fist! Confirm penetration! The hand of the Emperor guides me! Penetration! Praise the Emperor! Confirm penetration! The hand of the Emperor guides me! We're flooding quickly! Praise the Emperor! Confirm penetration! The hand of the Emperor guides me! Target penetrated! I strike with the Emperor's fist! Confirm penetration! The hand of the Emperor guides me! Penetration! Praise the Emperor! Enemy force sighted on the horizon! Target penetrated! I strike with the Emperor's fist! force sighted on the horizon. Confirm penetration. The hand of the Emperor guides me. Our victory is in sight. Spare none in your fury! can't stop the war!